Okay, we have a Gold 3 tank VOD review on a couple of heroes now in Gold 3 Arctic Peninsula map. About this map, don't know what happened. I was very chill playing Monkey and was good. The problem was the second round, I'm assuming that means, being a control map. No one died. That's very Monkey at the moment. In Season 6, he hasn't been in a great place, not because he's bad, pardon me, but because there's a lot of strong counters to him. Bastion, Torb, Ilari, they're all in a pretty good spot at the moment. So it's not great being a Monkey a lot of the time. It's not to say it's unplayable, but I think Monkey, Winston, and Reinhardt are two tanks that are quite popular, or at least Reinhardt probably more so than Winston. But they're just very punishable if they make mistakes compared to your more, I guess, meta slave heroes like Orisa, Ramatra, Junk Queen, even sort of Zaya to an extent. They have more get out of jail free cards than Ryan and Winston. Even Diva's got a bit more. But yeah, so that's probably what that has to do with. And when Winston doesn't have follow-up, he doesn't have a lot of kill threat, so it is just about playing to live. But when those heroes take away your ability to live, then nothing goes well. And then the last part, you got rolled. So obviously snowballed. There could have been mentals busted from your team by getting beaten in the second round. Who knows? Maybe your DPS were having a tough game and it just got out of hand. But yeah, we can take a look. If we're going to take a look at multiple heroes, we'll try and keep the feedback as generalized as possible to tank. Most likely the issue is that anyway. It's not often that it's hero specifics or limited to hero specifics in anything below Master's Grandmaster. So we'll take a look and we'll try and keep it applicable to all the heroes and see if there's a common theme among them. If not, then I'll just try and keep it to limited to maybe a point each hero, so you have something to take. As a general rule of thumb, I think it is better to sort of force heroes. I think if you're playing up to 3 heroes in a map, it's less than ideal. I'm a big fan of forcing heroes into bad situations. Makes you learn not only how to play them in those bad situations, but it makes it easier to play them in their good situations. I think that's a good way of looking at it. But obviously you don't need to smash your head into a brick wall if it's not working and you're miserable. Then having a backup hero is good. So maybe like Zaya, but then committing to Zaya, you know. If Zaya wasn't working, unless there's a real good reason why Diva would, then I think it's just better to try and force one of the heroes so that you learn them and you can climb. But enough about that. We'll get on with the clip and hopefully we can find something, especially if there's any sort of change from your gameplay in the first round to the second where nothing was dying. Off the bat, bubble usage not great. Bubble needs to be a tool for you to occupy, hold, or take space, or to give you time to extend the duration of your engagement because you need to dodge key abilities or soak up some damage. None of which are applicable right now. You've got this space, they gave it to you, or you earned it, however you want to look at it. You're really healthy, you're in LOS of your supports, they're not pressuring you. What this has done has denied any ability for you to now go aggressive. And your Reaper's in right now. So if you were able to jump on this area in front of you, I'll get my pen out. If you were able to jump here and then bubble this area and then focus the Sojourn, that would be something dying. Now I know things apparently don't stop living or don't stop dying until round 2, but there's a pretty early example of it. And you also stop how much damage your Reaper's about to take and help him hold that space. And then he helps you hold that space because he's threatening. So it all works out. And if I'm looking for a generalized thing amongst all the tanks now, it might be playing with your team. Not that you need to babysit them or necessarily like you can't play without them. But tank is very much timing, and you do need your team to go in when you go in, if nothing else, but for them to find value from the work that you're doing. So we go in, we stay here for a bit, we're tasing the Sojourn. We get chunked because we're facing a lot of damage here. Instead of just maybe chilling and holding our position on this bit of cover, we walk out into the open and we take a lot of damage. Our bubble gets forced, but then we're instantly forced to jump out of it. I would say pick an ability. If the bubble goes down and you're just going to sit here and get the healing and live a bit, or you're just going to jump out and then maybe you'll bubble here if they even press on you further. If you're trying to, I guess, play monkey better, or monkey is someone that you want to focus on, bubble usage is going to be crucial. Reaper's going in again. We're not ready. No, we're ready. We're going on the Ana. Unlucky you didn't dodge the sleep with bubble. I think we left really early just then. I didn't think we need to get out that soon. You don't even lose all your armor. I think you can keep staying here and like you're zoning out the Ana and you're taking the aggression of the tank and you're forcing a 4v3 on point, which is now a 4v2 because the Sojourn died. So I think you're doing a really good job until you jump back here. It's a very long first fight, but you're cleaning up now, so that's good. We'll just speed through this bit. The Ursa staggers herself a little bit by using Fortify. You get a nice kill on the Ana. This engagement without bubble again. So if I'm picking one note for Winston, it's definitely bubble usage. If I'm picking something that may be transferable over all the roles, it's about looking about where your team is and playing off of them, or letting them play off you as well. Because right there, we just went in after we saw our Reaper get Wraith forced, right? He's not going to be aggressive. I know that you want to deny the Sojourn, but you can do the same thing by maybe bubbling off the main choke for a bit. And then if she wants to aggress past that, then you dive her. And then if she shoots you and damages you, then you primal. Right? Instead of just insta going in and primaling and then beating about 1000 HP. It might sound a bit brutal, but I'm trying to be a bit critical here. Yeah, it's a fight-winning ultimate. I mean, we just didn't have any ultimates to respond with ourselves. Oh, the Mercy just rezzed you into a death. That is unfortunate. You just need to die quickly. I suppose you're stalling out point, actually. That's my bad. You can live however long you want. I thought they flipped for some reason. I'm amazed that they do not kill you during all that, to be honest. Let's take a look. Again, we're using bubble. You're not going to kill Orisa, straight up. It doesn't matter if you cut LOS to her supports. She has too much survivability as a tank. But yeah, again, we're going in without bubble. It's really risky. It's really for that reason alone. Wow, I mean, I wouldn't even say stuff was necessarily dying in this round because that was about 2 team fights, which is pretty nuts. They were really long team fights. So I wouldn't say anything was dying here. I think maybe just a couple things went your way. Maybe your DPS just hit a couple extra shots than they did. Sometimes it can just be like that sometimes. It won't be. And you'll get, it'll be that nothing is dying and you get rolled, which could be what this next round is. We'll see, because we roll out on Winston and then we make an adjustment. So I would like to see how this first fight goes. The only difference they've made, oh, a Moira and a Kiri now instead of a Ilari Ana. Iliari. Again, I don't... We're sort of leaving when they're not forcing us to. Like, you do a great job. You get a heap of cleave, 32% ult charge instantly. You force Suzu as well. But you have a lot of natural cover. I'll try and pause it. Like, you do a great job here. You get a little bit shot, but you have a lot of natural cover right now. You still have armor. You're in LOS of your Alari, even though she's a little more short range healing. So you're not going to get a heap of support. Oh, wait. I thought she was on high with the soldier. Never mind. But still, like, you're not going to get forced out while you still have armor as well. You can sort of use armor as the bare minimum threshold for you to, like, need to be scared of taking chunk amounts of damage, because you will start taking it way more after you get below what looks like 400 HP or maybe 350. But still, you had forced a 4v2 on point, and when you jumped back out, you made it a 5v5 on point. That's a really nice bubble. If in terms of using it as a tool to cut support, that was a really good bubble. Very well placed. Iliari's dueling someone. You can stay near a pylon there, that's good. Slightly worse bubble. And I'll also say, don't resort to using jump to get to your target. Use jump if you have to, right? If you walk on this Alari, the difference being, if you can walk onto this Alari, which you can because no one's really sort of denying this space in front of you, if you can walk to her and then use your taser to force out her swift step and then have jump still to go jump on her, that's pretty huge. So it's a common thing among Winstons is that they only move around the map with jump. You need to learn how to be able to just walk and press W and not rely on jump because you're being lazy about moving. Because anytime you can close the gap towards your target without using jump as well is a time that you always have it ready to get out and you're not buying time for it to come off cooldown again. See, even when she's so low, and you use the bubble to cut her LOS, it still didn't kill her. Like, yeah, she's crazy. I'd definitely be, yeah. The bubble usage needs adjusting, for sure. That wasn't a bad bubble. I don't mind it because it allows you to hold this space better, and you were below your threshold of armor. So I don't hate this bubble, but it is going to stop you from being aggressive, or if you go be aggressive now, you may get punished for it. Gonna primal to zone. Again, I don't think you need to pop primal on the engagement. I know you're trying to like displace her with it more than kill her. But I think a charge shot combo, charge shot jump melee animation cancel does a lot of damage and may force out a fade. Also, just using Primal as a tool to not make your supports have to dedicate resources to you may allow them to live just as much as displacing the Moira would. Every CC ability. I don't think you need to lose the Moira right now. I think you can keep juggling her. Damn. Yeah, I can see nothing is dying, but can you see how the first round wasn't really much difference? I think maybe just a couple more shots were hit. Like, it could be as simple as that. Because stuff does die eventually. Unless they make a swap here. They have a Reaper now, I guess. I don't know. I don't feel like the swap is needed. I think you're doing your job, you're doing it well enough. I like that you keep jumping back here knowing the pylon is here. But now you need to note that it just got destroyed, so you need to be careful. But they've just won the fight, so that's fine. You need to die or get out. Yeah. Okay, well, I keep commenting on bubble usage, and I think I'm somewhat tempted just to focus on this because he said the Zyre and the Diva didn't go well anyway. So I'm somewhat tempted just to focus on your Winston. If you're about to swap, then that's unfortunate. No, you don't. Okay. So I'm commenting on bubble usage. And bubble is good for, yes, cutting LOS of their team, right? So bubbling here and cutting LOS between these people, between the two groups, right? That's a good use of bubble. That's one use. The other use, oh my god, that's a horrible one. One. Another use, and this is not in order of importance by any means or anything like that. This is just the uses. The second one is to hold space, like we talked about before. That bubble when you were low allowed you to hold space. You can do this in the pre-fight, sort of, a lot of the time, to just see what compositions they have in the neutral, and to just like do a little bit of poking. A side note, with poking with right click, you never want to be taking more damage than you're putting out, so don't be poking Hanzos or Kirikos or anything like that. Poke Moiras, poke Reinhardts, you know, stuff like that. But then the third use, and the most important, is about extending your engagement. Because engagements are monkeys' uptime, right? I draw this graph a fair amount in terms of uptime. But this is when you have bubble and jump available to you. This is when you're using them. And then this is when you don't have them and you've been forced out, right? The thing is, with both of your abilities, the cooldown starts from when you use them, not when they end. So bubble starts from when you use it, not when it's broken. Jump starts from when you use it, not when you've landed. So I guess my more accurate version would be something like that instead. But regardless, this is to say that you are weakest, and honestly, one of the more weaker tanks in the game when you do not have bubble. When you have it, you're one of the strongest. It's up there with the best abilities in the game. Bubble. It's huge. It's a huge tool for these reasons. It's the biggest shield. It's a 360-degree shield. It can cut off entire chokes. It can be used to dodge cooldowns. But that's what I'm getting into. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit there. The point is that if you don't have bubble, your engage period is sort of like that. It is what I sort of drew before, right? Where you go in and then you're going to get forced out really quickly, so it's going to be out. And then you're going to be waiting for cooldowns for even longer, right? Whereas if you have your bubble available to you, when you go in, then you can stay there for longer, then you can kite, and then your jump can either continue this or it can be to go out, but then you have like a really small downtime and then you have this nice uptime again, right? And this is the zones we want to be in, and if there's more time spent up here than down here, then we're winning, right? We're happy. And part of being able to do this is to do with extending your engagement, right? How do you do that? Is by using the bubble to, one, dodge CDs, to just write a bit quicker here, dodge CDs, and two, to dodge damage. The added bonus is that you cut LOS of targets, right? You can use it to split up the two supports from each other. You can use it to split an isolated DPS from the backline or help. You can use it to block off the tank from their team, right? That's an indirect bonus that comes from using it as these things. And you should always be staging your dives around cover anyway, because that helps you extend the dive. But taking favorable 1v1s where you're not taking too much damage, so not diving the Reaper, obviously, but instead diving Moira, diving Genji, diving Kiriko, all good targets. Genji obviously puts out a bit more damage than these two, but you could also, he doesn't have any defense against you, being a laser hero. And dodging key abilities, so like dodging Sleep Dart if they had it, dodging Anti-Nade, dodging Shield Bash, dodging Whip Shot, those sorts of things, like the Whip Shot in the middle of your jump to deny your entire engage. That's what bubble is used for, right? If you're able to do this, you spend more time with the enemy aggression on you, and you force these matchup advantages other places on the map. Like we talked about at the start, when you were forcing you were here. I'll just put a W for Winston. And then there was like Kiri, Moira, and Sojourn or something here. You were forcing a 1v3 here, and not like you're losing the 1v3. Like this was good because you had this cover and you were occupying all this space, and you could even bubble this if you wanted to. You're forcing a 1v3 here and living, so like winning it. And it's both their supports, so it's a good 1v3. And then you're forcing a 2v4 somewhere on the rest of the map where your team has supports and their team doesn't. So the longer you can stay here, the more the support difference matters, because they don't have sustain and your team does. And that's a huge thing. But you can't do this without bubble. You'll get forced out quicker, and so the damage won't come, or the damage will just get healed up, and Orisa will do enough to survive through Fortify, Javelin Spin, etc. Or you'll just get burnt, and you'll get killed, and then it's a 4v5 for the rest of the team fight, right? So the end result of not having bubble is either a 5v5 where you, one, can't go in, and two, have no space. Sorry. Have no space. Or you've forced a 4v5 because you've straight up been killed. And that's horrible handwriting, but I give up. So yeah, that's what I mean by bubble usage. That's what I'm trying to get at. And we'll look through the rest of this Winston game. Oh, you are going to swap, I think. Yeah, okay. Well, good thing that I talked about it. We can spend a little bit of time talking about this, but I don't want to focus too much on it because I don't want to overload you and give you too many different things to be thinking about at any given time. The bubble usage is by far the biggest thing. Nice bubble. We're doing some living. have energy. We don't need to be doing this. He was pressuring enough. We need to be forcing out the Genji that's on our backline right now. Anyway, get to natural cover. Almost. Nice kill. We're down bubbles though, we need to be near cover. There you go. We'll speed through to the next fight. I may just focus on this round because we're coming up on 30 minutes anyway. And he said the last round was a roll, so. Nice, force that out. Need to make sure you're playing your walls and utilizing cover really well. Zarya is a glass cannon of a tank. She's incredibly squishy, and anytime you waste a bubble, she becomes way squishier. Not to say that you waste a bubble, but you need to be hugging this wall right now. There's a bubble for energy. They sort of punish you for it. Second bubbles to stay alive, but there's no support. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think the bigger thing is that you just needed to kite. It was probably a bad opportunity to use Grav. Could have probably held on to it a little longer and then Reaper could have comboed with it. Yeah, they just have a massive ult advantage. Yeah, not much to say about the last fight. But anyway, I guess a note for Zarya is just make sure that they earn your bubbles and don't be wasting them on charge too much, which you didn't seem to do too much. But also make sure you play close to your cover for those periods where you don't have your bubble. And then with Monkey, it's bubbles again. Just really think about what I went over before you swapped about having bubble available to you, having your cooldowns available to you to go in and to hold space, because you were holding space really well at some points and you just gave it up, and other times you just let them force out your bubble for way too little. But yeah, I hope that all made sense. If you need more explaining or have more clips, definitely submit them. And yeah, all the best with your games.